Okay, we'll get underway. Okay. First, I am going to turn the lights back up. I want to introduce tonight. We have two returning members have been here. We have Ken Pyros, who's been a member in the past and coming back, and Susan Chen right here. So two new members, so let's welcome them together. Good to have you here. Now I will. Okay, welcome to Photojournalism Night. And I'm going to go through quickly my announcements for upcoming meetings. Next Friday, September 22nd, is our nature competition, which will be projection. Deadline, that, as usual, is listed on the website. It's usually the Wednesday, the week prior to that. And then, our fourth critique night. Send those images in. Critique night, again, is a chance you could send any image, taken any time. It could be one you have questions on, how to improve, some of your best work that you just want to show off. We're going to have a little CPS panel, a few members that we're going to just talk about it, give you our opinions. Also, we'll be able to edit in real time up on the screen. As well. So anything like cropping or lighting, we will do in real time so you could see before and after. There is no judging in this. So this is purely just a way to get some feedback on your images under low pressure conditions. So send up to 3 images to info@clevelandphoto.org. They don't have to be downsized, so just send them in regardless. And remember, you don't have to be here as well. You could watch this all from home, live, or at any time on the YouTube channel. So if you have some images you want to send in, but you're not going to be around at that time, send them in anyway, and you could always just watch the YouTube presentation. So that comes up on the 29th. And did I say send those images? Our first bee competition, October 6th, the Friday after that. That is for our beginners. Bee competition again. The judges for that, there is judging, but it is a panel of CPS judges, so it's a little lighter. And you're also competing against other beginners. That's the competition that if you wind up with a perfect score, you get kicked out of that and up to the regular competitions as well. And then October 13th is a people competition, but it's our first our print night too. So this will be a print competition. The deadline for that is usually the evening of the competition. All of the instructions for prints are on our website. And also because of the problem with printing with Costco not doing it anymore, we had a little thing put up by Bill Keaton, or written by Bill Keaton, of advice where to get your images printed around town, online, advantages, disadvantages, and we put that up on our website. It's on the competition page, so you'll see a link to that for any suggestions you need, help in terms of printing. For print is 3. The rules for that are on the website, because there's every night that there is a themed competition like people or nature, there is also a pictorial one, and you're allowed to enter a total of 3 in pictorial, 2 in nature, 1 in pictorial. There's a certain grouping you could do, but that's all explained on the website. Now, I know there were more of you at the air show. I want those pictures for the website gallery, or I'm going to start calling people up there as well. So send me some of your again, it's fun for the rest of us to see what we missed. You know, it's a matter, gee, I didn't realize this jet was in the show, you know, that type of thing. It wasn't in my viewfinder. So send the images, and the same thing goes for Back to the Wild. Anyone who's on the, I know we had a lot of people on the Back to the Wild trip, so just to info@clevelandphoto.org, just shoot your pictures in. Don't have to resize them or do anything, so that we could all take a look at that. No limit on number of pictures you could send in. Our next SIG meeting coming up October 5th. With Dave Bush will be all things related to lenses and filters, neutral density, all types of filters, lenses, which types of lenses, whether the off-brands are as good as the brands too. And as of our last SIG meeting too, these are all being put online too. So you'll be able to see that, not on our YouTube channel, but on our members' website. Yep, that's just my announcement that they will all future SIG meetings be recorded. And finally, all of our public meetings are on our YouTube channel. Zoom meetings are on our members-only content on the website. For any of these public meetings, just go to our website homepage. In the upper right, there's a YouTube icon. You click on that. When you get to the YouTube page, click on Live. And the live, then you will see all of our presentations in date order. So, without any further ado then, let me bring up, and we'll get set to start our images. And let me turn this back around. And turn this particular, you still have enough light? Yep. Okay. Okay. So we'll start our night tonight with Barbara. Barbara, we got a mic for you right there. And we'll put up our first image.
This was done at a Civil War reenactment down at Hale Farm. The big field that they were on, and first of the Confederates came the Fife and Drum Corps.
By the way, I always thought it'd be a bummer to have to, but it's fun to do the fife, but that kid on the left there playing someone dead, you go out, you get dressed up, you just lie, that's his job.
Didn't you see the ketchup? This is the same Civil War reenactment. We have the Union troops in action. All of these pictures were kind of fun because I was very new at taking pictures, brought out my new camera lens, and it wouldn't focus. So all of it was manual focus. It's a good thing I wasn't doing something that moved fast like birds. And of course, if one side gets their chance, the other side gets their chance then. And this is, of course, the ultimate price of war, is that some of us come home and some of us don't. And unfortunately, I didn't get them when they were actually firing the cannon. They were loading it up there, but that was their big gun of the day.
Wow. Okay, great. Thank you there. And Bill's not here tonight. Mariah has his comments.
There, is that working? Okay.
Yep.
For Bill Keaton. This is Thunderstruck. Freddie DeMarco plays the part of, and the guitar like, Angus Young of AC/DC. DeMarco is the star of the tribute band Dirty Deeds. Extreme AC/DC, which plays venues throughout northern Ohio. On this occasion, he kicked off the band's entrance at the July 7 Rockin' on the River performance, which takes place throughout the summer in Lorain. This one is Never Too Young to Rock. An enthusiastic crowd of hundreds, including a young boy on someone's shoulders, watches the performance of Dirty Deeds. Extreme AC/DC at the Rockin' on the River concert, July 7 in Lorain. Rockin' on the River is a weekly concert event that takes place on the banks of the Black River in Lorain and starts in late May and ends the middle of September. The event features the event features cover bands from throughout Northern Ohio. Up close with penguins. A young boy and his mother stand inside a dome, which is part of the penguin display at the National Aviary, located in Pittsburgh. Tunnels lead under the penguin display to these domes, which allows people to get an up-close experience with the birds. The aviary features birds from around the world, including eagles and condors, and has several up-close encounters available to visitors. This is lucky you, I guess so. The closing weekend of the Great Lakes Medieval Fair, located near Rock Creek, had a superheroes theme for the weekend. One person dressed for the occasion as Harley Quinn, a character from DC Comics. The fair, which usually runs from early July to late August, features several entertainment stages and oddity vendors. Is Bob here?
Yes, I am.
Bob's here.
I started out looking at what theme I would like to bring together in regards to photojournalism. And I'm down in the valley quite often, and in the early mornings, we always have what I consider to be the athletes of the valley. And that's what my presentation is. And what we have here is what I call the happy runners. And this is a jovial group of guys that I've seen a number of times. And as you can see, they're enjoying the run. Can I have the next photo? These are the serious runners. These are the athletes of the school. These are the ones that, no nonsense, we are going to fine-tune our athletic skills, and we are going to be the leaders of the pack. The next photo, please. This is the coach. Everyone started briskly, and the coach followed them. But one of the things that was neat about the coach, he had a steady pace, never rushed, and on the turn was right with the pack. The next one, please. These are the happy, fun-loving runners. You can see through the younger runners, the ones that are probably in the back of the pack at the most time, but they were always having the most fun. But before we go to the next photo, I'd like to talk about something. In the search of my objective here of photojournalism and capturing images of athletes in the park, I had a grand time in taking many, many pictures. But I also had one of the most awakening events in my life. I was taking a series of photos, and I came upon a group of athletes, seniors most likely, with their coach. And the coach stopped and asked me not to take photographs. Initially, I was sort of taken back by that, and I immediately said, fine, I will not take any photographs. I appreciate your telling me that. And I thought about that, and it impacted me, and I thought about it for days in regards to my invasion of their space, but also the comment of a coach, someone looking after their responsibilities, an adult who most likely was treating the situation more as adult than maybe I was. Dave Saborik at our recent mentors meeting had a comment that he only takes pictures of people with their approval. And I must say, I reached the point where I will only take pictures of people with their approval. And I really honor and respect the coach that you're going to see in the next picture, because that's a person who I would want my child to be associated with, a guardian more than a coach. Please show the next picture. There she is, 5'3", stood up to me and said, "No pictures." And I took the next step of just making sure that we were blotting out the faces of the girls in the picture. I just applaud this person, this coach, and I think it was just an awakening moment for me. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Bob. That's very interesting. Bonnie here?
Bonnie's not here.
Okay.
Bonnie's picture. This picture is Ohio State Band at Put-in-Bay. The Ohio State Band, comprised of 270 members, marched in 2 parades and held a concert at Put-in-Bay to celebrate the bicentennial plus 10 years. It was a celebration of Commodore Perry's victory over the English, which helped our new country win the War of 1812. I like the photograph, special or different reflections. And the reflections in the tubes in the tuba are interesting. The band members usually march on their toes, which I think should be difficult for a long parade. The band is shown at the base of Perry's monument playing a concert. The right picture shows the band on the Jet Express ferry, which took them to the boardwalk, where they played the Star-Spangled Banner while the flag was being lowered for the night. After a long day, the ferry took them to the mainland to catch their buses back to Columbus.
And then she just has, that description was meant for her, all the pictures, I think.
For all of them, yeah.
Yes,
It says
so
all the
Right.
rest are Ohio State Band at Put-in-Bay
Right.
is
And
this
these-
one.
That's on the toes.
And
was
on
the-
Ohio State Band at Put-in-Bay again,
Yeah.
Star-Spangled Banner by the Ohio State Band. Painting the water tower. I was fortunate to watch the painting of the Venice, Florida water tower. The painter pointed in grids he laid out on the blank tower. One side was complete, and he was beginning on the other side of the tower. Okay,
Wow.
next one is painting the Venice, Florida water tower. It was very interesting to watch the painting process over a 10-day period. He was working very high on the cherry picker. The painter first had to clean the tower, then paint it blue, then draw a grid so he would know what part of the picture went where, and finally he could paint the actual picture. It's a long time to be in the air. And the last one also is painting the Venice, Florida water tower.
Bryant? I don't think
Is
he's.
Bryant here?
No, he's not.
No? Okay, Bryant Muhammad. The Zulus. This picture depicts some of the members of the Zulu Motorcycle Club talking among themselves while waiting to escort community members who were going to reenact the March on Washington, led by the late Dr. Martin Luther King.
Is the mic green there, Mariah? Is the mic green? Is it on?
Yeah, it's green.
Okay.
It's green. I just have
Gotcha.
it waving off to the side. Okay. The next one is, the name is Bootsy. This picture is of musician Bootsy Collins at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame promoting his Funk, Not Fight campaign. Throw was created by Bootsy and his wife to promote positivity among the youth as opposed to violence in schools. The next one is Crossroads. A city worker changes the street sign to honor the Cleveland rap group, Bone, Thugs and Harmony. This location is where to local group made their first music video. The next one is a handout. A participant in the Labor Day parade stops to give some candy to an onlooker. Next one is the march. The picture depicts a man listening to the speaker at the March on Washington reenactment organized by community leaders. This event took place in downtown Cleveland near City Hall. Next one is undivided attention. A member of the Zulu Motorcycle Club listens to the speakers at the event that honored the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington.
Charles K.
Is Charles here?
Nope.
He has one, and this is called The Machinist. Mike is preparing a sink roll used in the hot dip galvanizing for automotive panel stamping. The roll is made of 304 stainless steel and will be thermal sprayed after groove is complete. This is a manual lathe using high hardness cutting tools.
Okay,
Dave's
Dave.
here. Hang on a second.
Okay, I got some before and after pictures for you. It's all before, though. So we've seen a lot of the after pictures in the news over the last couple weeks. Not couple weeks, over the last week. This is in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. 2,900 people at the latest count yesterday have died. 5,500 injured, tens of thousands left homeless. So this is a village popular with the Moroccans and tourists who go in the Atlas Mountains to cool off and relax and enjoy some sunshine during the summer. It's a town called Seti, and it's a sister town of another town, Fatma, is Seti Fatma. Lower left-hand side of the picture, there's a little restaurant. So the people cross these bridges over the Eureka River, and there's a lot of restaurants and a lot of just picnic spots along the river where they can relax and enjoy the cooler weather than they would get in Marrakesh, and have a picnic. It's interesting, sister cities, Seti and Fatma, share this river, the Eureka River. It's dammed at the top, at the source, and one day it flows into Seti, and the next day the dam is switched and they share the river, and it flows into Fatma. So these villages, like a little village there you see on the left-hand side in the shadow of the mountain, they're the kinds of villages that were destroyed by the earthquake, and it's extremely hard to get to some of these villages because the roads have been completely filled with rubble, and people are still waiting for aid. Go ahead, Richard. So this is in Marrakesh itself. This is the main square in the Medina, the heart of the old city. It's a huge, huge square and attracts Moroccans and tourists day and night. During the day, we got a lot of different kinds of vendors, snake charmers, monkeys, dentists, orange juice, and there's a couple mosques actually within the square, including the one you see there, the top middle. And I included this picture because that particular minaret came down during the earthquake a week ago. So fortunately, we spent like 5 days in Marrakesh and visited a lot of the antiquities and the ancient buildings and historic buildings, and suffered minimal damage. That particular mosque was one of the ones that was damaged, actually. So pictured behind me, that's a typical village that was destroyed by the earthquake, just small villages tucked into the mountains all over. This was on a hike up to a waterfall in the mountains, and it was interesting getting off the earthquake business there a little bit. I had to hire a guide to take me up the mountain, which turned out to be a big joke because the entire way the path was wide and clear and full of vendors. And my guide, actually, his family owned a carpet shop that was along the trail up to the waterfall. And when I refused to go shopping and buying rugs in his shop, he quit talking to me. So this is a camera shop. I thought I would include it just for the club here, and I don't think it needed an earthquake to create that disarray.
Dave, are those mirrorless?
The one in the lower left there, yeah.
Interesting. Thanks there. Dave, is Dave here? Nope. Nope.
Okay, David Gressick. This one is no shirt, no shoes, no dice. My mama always said landscape photography was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Here's one living his dream, passed out on the pier, a true cheeseburger in paradise. At his side, a beer, a pack of smokes, a cell phone, and flip-flops. All I need are some tasty waves, a cool buzz, and I'm fine. We could tell he was alive from all the snoring. Some of his family were fishing nearby, would take turns every 10 to 15 minutes to check that he was still alive. They even slapped him in the face with a fresh fish, and he would hardly budge. After 2 hours, they finally got him up and on his way. A bad day of fishing beats a good day at work. Captain Waterfall. While we were out chasing waterfalls in western northern California, while we were out chasing waterfalls in western North Carolina, a family joined us at the base of Soco Falls. This young man stripped down to his patriotic red, white, and blue skivvies and headed in. This is a quick shower at Soco Falls. After tiptoeing across the slippery rocks, Captain Waterfall gets a brisk morning shower before scampering back up into the warm sunlight. It was a double dare. At Pedernales Falls, west of Austin, a local Texas youth responds to the challenge of his peers and takes the leap. The shadow made it across solidly, but only briefly to the other side. The kid did not. He dragged his shadow down into the flume, and they screamed with delight as both were flushed out into the river without injury. There was no second attempt.
Graham here? Nope. Okay.
Graham Steed. Leading the way. Pride Parade, Cleveland, June 2023. Marchers leading the way along the Pride Parade. Pride festivities. Pride Parade, Cleveland, June 2023. Festival goers waiting and enjoying the day. Pride insignia. Pride Parade, Cleveland, June 2023. Insignia and flags on display during the parade. Pride Festival goers enjoying the day. Cleveland, June 2023. Pride Festival attendees enjoying the march through the city. Is Jill here?
Yes.
I was down at the local waterfall and thinking I was going to have a calm day, and along comes this group of people, and they have their bags and they're putting down their tarps, and I'm wondering what is going on, and then they're taking off their clothes. This is getting interesting. So then I find out this is the local polar bear club, and they go every Sunday and go into the water. I mean, totally immerse themselves, have a little swim, and this guy's just walking back to shore. It was 25 degrees that day. I'm like snow pants, parka, fully covered, and I just can't imagine. But I talked to some of them, and they said they do this to help their immunity and improve their health. I don't know if it worked or not, but I don't know. So it was.
Joe Smith here? No?
Okay, Joe Smith. Here we go. Aaron who? On the practice field in Green Bay. The next one is Look Into My Eyes. This wolf's Gwenna monkey simply wanted the attention of her caregiver. Although I shot this image from outside the habitat through the glass, the different levels seem to suggest that I am behind the animal within. Riding the waves. I took this photo in Miami Beach, Florida, on a sunny but very chilly December day. The winds were high, and this kite surfer was incredibly skilled and a master of the sport. He spent much of his time airborne above the white caps. I remained safely on shore. Send message to someone special. The Message Flat Sand Dunes are truly something to behold, as they rise hundreds of feet above the desert floor. Caution must be observed as you wander around the giant walls of silica because no official trails exist. Sand, wind, and the entrapping mountains to the north prevent the sand from being blown further south, creating the perfect dune field. Vegas street singer. I took this image on the street outside the Paris Hotel singing Frank Sinatra and other well-known Las Vegas entertainers. His voice was astonishing. Look closely, and you can see and feel the emotion with each and every musical note. Journey back 282 below sea level. A long procession of adventurers making the trek across the salt flats of Badwater Basin, Death Valley, California. Wind speeds were in excess of 50 miles per hour.
Don't worry, Barbara, you're not going to present again. We're just going to a different group now.
Is John here?
I don't think John's here.
All right. This is heavy traffic. The Cuyahoga River Bridge, number 1, also known as the Iron Curtain Bridge, is the railroad lift bridge in the background. Underneath the bridge is one of many of the freight ships navigating the challenging curvy path of the Cuyahoga River. Some operate under their own power, and others, like this one, use a tugboat to guide them. Note that Port of Marine Safety Boat monitoring and ensuring pleasure boaters, kayakers, rowers, and others do not get too close. Protecting Playhouse Square. Cleveland Playhouse Square is the largest performing arts center in the United States outside of New York City. This photo, taken on Euclid Avenue, shows the world's largest outdoor chandelier, completed in 2014, hanging above the street. The photo features 2 mounted police officers underneath the chandelier on horseback, and are part of the Cleveland Police Mounted Unit, which was established in 1911 and currently has 10 horses and 12 officers. Both officers enjoyed having the picture taken as they walked their horses in a natural, slow, and steady 4-beat gait, left hind leg, left front leg, right hind leg, right front leg. Have to watch next time. Summer reading. In the background is Stan Hyatt, the historic estate and gardens in Akron, Ohio, built in 1912 by F.A. Sieberling, the co-founder of Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. The photo was taken during their annual 2023 Father's Day car show. The car in the photo is a vintage red convertible. The woman lying on a blanket on the grass is reading a book and is possibly the owner of the classic vehicle. She looks relaxed and apparently doesn't mind the hundreds of people who are walking by. Note the man in the background dressed as an old-time race driver.
Karen?
Karen, here you are.
Yep,
Karen.
we got in back of you there.
Right here.
Karen?
Okay, my 3 pictures were from India. These are 3 street kids. And they're really hard to capture pictures of because if they make eye contact with you, they will be with you forever. And everybody is told really not to give the kids anything in India because most of them are part of trafficking circles. So if you give anything to the kids, it's probably not going to them. It's going to feed the problem of trafficking in India. So streets in India are absolutely crazy. There's cows, chickens, I mean, motorbikes, everything going on all over the place. And I thought the expression on the little kid's face on the motorbike kind of captured that this is India. This is just the way it is. Yep. And this is a child from a lower caste family in India. And it's a caste where kids tend to be forgotten. And I captured the photo so she wouldn't be.
Beautiful images.
Thanks.
Okay, this was captured about a month ago at Hinkley Lake. This empty kayak reminds us of a waning summer, 2023. And for some of us, it may not have seemed, for some of us, it seemed like it wasn't much of a summer, but Hinkley Lake is a popular place in the summertime for all the kayakers and pedal boarders and whatnot. And this was taken at the boathouse, just outside the boathouse. And it was a rather cloudy day, which is probably why the water seems rather dull in appearance. But in any case, it's a very popular site at Hinkley Lake on any weekend summer afternoon.
And it should be interesting because it's one of the last pictures taken of it because they're draining it now.
Yes, they're going to be draining the lake, and they're going to be doing capital improvements on it for the next 3 years. Okay, my wife Barbara and I were sitting at the boathouse on a couple of rocking chairs just outside the front entrance, and I happened to notice this woman pass with a beautiful Siberian Husky dog. This dog had the bluest eyes I've ever seen on any Siberian Husky, and this is a very popular place for people to come and walk their dogs on weekends, summer afternoons, and even weekday evenings during the summertime. And I did get her permission before asking. I did ask her if I could take a picture of her and her dog, and she gladly obliged. And when this picture was taken, the lighting was a little harsh. That's why there's such a harsh shadow. But again, it's pretty indicative of what you'll see at Hinkley Reservation on a Sunday afternoon. That's all the pictures I've submitted.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Chris, I didn't see Chris here.
Okay, Chris Bosworth. His first one is Remembrance. This image was taken on 9/11/2023 on the Berea Triangle. The cannon here is in remembrance of the USS Maine, destroyed in 1898. In the background are 2,997 American flags in remembrance of 9/11/2011. The implication is man's continued war with his fellow man. His next one is Disobedience School. While mentoring with a fellow CPS member, a cadre of dogs with their owners set up an obedience course nearby. This image shows the hilarity of a dog doing its own thing. While we can see the humor, it's the faces of the onlookers I would have liked to see the owner's expression. Okay, Mariah is here. This first one, I went to an art show in Nova Scotia, right on the shoreline. It was, we were an artist opening in a warehouse on the water. The local crafts were in full display, and the music, a totally toe-tipping experience, was playing on the dock. Oblivious to all this show of talent was the cat laying full out below the wave. All right, this next one was a toddler trike race. And I'm here to tell you, not one of those toddlers knew what a race was. The organizers were trying, number one, to get their attention, number two, to try to make it a competition, and number three, to get them to go from that starting point 20 feet to the awaiting arms of people on the other side. It was complete disarray, and I just sat on the sideline and laughed. The adults were so intent on making it a competition, and those kids were about as interested as nothing. They're too young. I called this Waste Not, Want Not. This is down in the flats. How puzzled yet pleased these new diners at this riverside restaurant must have been upon finding good, paid-for food left behind. Why not make short work of it, they said, and then fought to the finish for every morsel on the plates and the table right next to the one I was sitting at. And the people, the waiters and the owners and so on, didn't bother to shoo them away. They just let them have at it. This is I went to a fair up in Rosso, Muskoka, north of Toronto. And it's one of those wonderful fairs where all the local people, bake bread and make cookies, and everybody gets prizes. I took these pictures because I don't know how many people here in the room think of the Canadian Mountie as a woman. So whoever made this, I think, got a first prize. The last one I called Tarantula. Really? At the outdoor annual fair in Rosso, Ontario, under a tent on a large table were about 14 terrariums, or closed glass display cases containing snakes, arachnids, amphibians, and insects. The botanical caregiver was much more comfortable than the fairgoers, letting this tarantula crawl about on her arm and on her hand. She had good information about how harmless they were. Visitors were skeptical.
Very nice. Melanie here?
No Melanie?
No Melanie.
No Melanie. Okay. First one is sold. Incredibly rare red top beer can. Company based in Ohio. Bidding for this rare can went to almost, can anybody guess? It's $2,000.
2000?
2,000 right there.
What's the name of the beer again?
It's
Red-
called Red Top Beer.
Red Top?
So we'll all be out looking for them, right?
Wow.
Mebane Auction Gallery started my John Lambert, the auctioneer and owner, on high right of the image is a worldwide authority on vintage and antique advertising. People from all over the country bid in person and online, hoping to add something of rarity to their unique advertising collection. Next one is incredibly rare Lance snack machine. Mebane Auction Gallery, is that the name of it? Has been a leader in the state in the sale of antique and vintage advertising. Each August, over 5,000 lots are sold over a 3-day span. This Lance snack machine is rare since very few were built. This machine is in excellent working order. Wonder what a Lance snack machine is. All right, here we go. Pontiac Neon Man Cave sign. Incredibly rare examples of advertising neon signs sell to the highest bidder at Mebane Auction Gallery's annual country store auction. This Pontiac is no exception. Vicks Vatronol relieves. Mebane Auction Gallery annual country store auction. Buyers and from across the country attend this auction during the first week of August. Antique and vintage advertising has become a hot collective. Here is a rare Vicks Vatronol sign going back to the 1950s. That doesn't seem like so long ago. All right. The inspection. Mebane Auction Gallery Country Store Auction. The auction features over 5,000 advertising lots. This prospective bidder examines vintage mid-20th century store signs.
Okay, Nancy, I don't think I've seen Nancy either.
Goodness, where are all these people? Thank you for submitting all these. Let's say that. Okay, this is Nancy Murnack. The farrier. Being a farrier is farrier. Being a farrier is back-breaking work, and it can be quite dangerous. Not every horse, mule, or donkey wants to get its feet trimmed. Farmers are commonly called blacksmiths, but there is a world of difference. A farrier is more of a foot doctor for horses, mules, and other hoofed animals. A blacksmith is more of an artist who works with wrought iron, making tools, gates, and horseshoes. A concrete worker. This concrete worker is finishing up on the last of many phases it took to complete this job. From digging out the earth where the horseshoe drive was to go, building a wooden form, adding a gravel base of rebar for strength, pouring and leveling the concrete, finishing the edges by coloring the concrete, and sampling a slate texture with skins. This final step is cutting expansion joints after removing the forms.
Randy, is Randy here? No?
First one, pretty good. Sunset walks. Caught a couple on the beach about to hold hands with the sun setting in the background. Next one, high five. Dolphin doing tricks for food from the trainer. Notice the other dolphin watching. I know he's here.
You know, yes, It's interesting. I hadn't seen these pictures before, and someone earlier had shown the Cleveland Pride, right? And that's what I've got, Pride, June 2023 Pride. This, though, is from Jerusalem, Israel, which makes it really interesting. When you go to two things about photographing demonstrations or Pride, there was two in Israel. The cities are quite different. Pride Day in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is like New York City, San Francisco. It's all young people, cosmopolitan. You won't see anyone in Orthodox dress. The Pride parade there was huge. They had flags up and things along the route for a week before. Very big event. In Jerusalem, it is completely different. Jerusalem is an extremely Orthodox and conservative city. There is just as big a counter demonstration among the ultra-Orthodox as there are participants in the Pride. There was negotiation this year between the Pride group and the city that the flags, the Pride flags, would go up on the route only the morning of and taken down the evening of the Pride parade. Otherwise, it would inflame the Orthodox. So it's interesting. And what's also interesting, if you sometimes know be it a demonstration for whatever you're going to, on a coal plant or something else, if you're covering it and you know something about it, it makes it, you could zoom in on the pictures a little bit more. It makes the pictures a little bit more interesting. You know what to get and not get. So I try to kind of research these things ahead of time. So these are some from Pride Day in Jerusalem. So it started up, you'll see the participants look the same as pretty much anywhere, except most of the writing will be in Hebrew here. So this is just one of the demonstrators. And you have to pick, also with these demonstrations, some are a little harder than others. In the Cleveland one, you can mix in with them, go back and forth and whatnot. Same thing in Tel Aviv. In Jerusalem, because of terrorism and whatnot, the security is extremely tight for any gathering of people, nothing to do with it being Pride. So beforehand, everyone, and there was quite a few thousand people in this, but there was a park that was completely just surrounded by barriers that everyone would gather in. So you'd be screened before going into the park. And then from there, people would come down the route, but the whole route was barricaded on either side. So if you were on the sidewalk, you can't step into the parade. If you're in the parade, you can step out of it as well until the end. So as a photographer, it's a matter of finding your right spot. You're not going to be able to really do a lot of movement around. So a lot of just makes these things very interesting. And then if you know the local history as well, too, is I recognized him. This is Bearded Gilad. Bearded Gilad is the company. Bearded Gilad is the largest, one of the largest advertising firms in Israel, based in Jerusalem. And one of its biggest things is it's an expert in marketing is beards as well. And the head of the company and employs 10,000 people. As well. And this is that's Bearded Gilad. That's him. Was actually, he feels very strongly about this, and he was out demonstrating that day. So again, knowing a little bit of the area too, you could pick these people out. Again, just a lot of interesting people. Covering any kind of parade, it's hard because these things are just fleeting moments. You can't, get your position and whatnot, so it's always fun. You get a lot of pictures and just try in the end to just cull them down to the ones you want. But a lot of interesting people in the parade. And again, no matter which, and I've been to several Pride parades, wherever you go in the world, with the Cleveland and whatnot, the people will look the same. People are people. Again, very, very friendly. It was a lot of fun. Again, you'll see a lot of English as well as Hebrew there. I like this shot again, just happened to get that right moment in there. And I think my last one is one, again, just to keep an eye out. Knowing this, one of the most hated men, or really disliked strongly, let me put it that way, by the gay community is the Minister of the Interior of the country. We don't have a Minister of Interior. Minister of Interior is in charge of all the police. Here it would be the equivalent of the police, the FBI, everything. There's no state or whatnot. The Interior Ministry is responsible for all state security as well. And the one who is in there now is extremely right-wing and is absolutely anti everything gay and whatnot as well. And so you will see, and he's the last person that you want showing up at this, but there were rumors that he would stir the pot and show up at this again. And what you'll see is his name is Itamar Ben-Gvir, and that's why you'll see little things like this, FCK BNGVR, which is something Ben-Gvir. And also the here. So, because I had people asking me about this. Again, if you don't know the politics of the area, people were saying, "What's that?" and other things too. And I saw quite a bit of this too. And sure, knowing him as well from his picture and whatnot in there too, there he was. I saw him right across the street. I recognized him. He was making, these are the barricades, so the people are on this. And he just made it a point to show up and just aggravate people as well. So it's interesting in covering these. There's a lot of interest as well as if you know the area as well. So I thought I'd superimpose these two. So those are my shots. Salvatore? No?
Salvatore Giordano, his first picture is Horrors of War. D-Day, 1944.
I'm assuming that was at the Conneaut D-Day reenactment. That's where
right.
usually. Susan? Okay.
Susan Mahorsic? Okay, Zazzy's is the first one. I have a friend that says if she lived in downtown Miami, she'd probably never cook again because there are so many restaurants in the area that she could probably eat out every night and still not hit them all. This is Zazzy's, a pizza, and only pizza takeout joint in Wynwood. Time Machine, T-H-Y-M-E. Time Machine, a very popular food truck that parks in Bricknell, the financial district of Miami. It is a traditional Lebanese coffee bakery. They do not serve soup. That's an interesting note. Amore Prima Pizza. Amore Prima Pizza, that is love at first pizza. In Bicknell, the financial district in Miami, perhaps should have been called Amore a Fugace because, alas, this particular restaurant is now closed. Just when we were getting interested.
Okay, we have what? We have one more. And Susan, this is if we could bring the mic over to Susan down here. We'll go over to where yours are.
Thanks. This is New Year's Day down under. And this was taken at a beach near Sydney. And it's just a tradition that on New Year's Day, everyone goes to the beach. And on Christmas, you see people on the beach with Santa hats. So it's very hard to get used to. It's very different and fun. This one I called Sabbath. I saw the child, because of the tradition of not taking pictures on the Sabbath, the child put their hand up. I hadn't been thinking about that. And it wasn't until I got back home that I saw the gun passing behind the child. The soldier. So this was in the 70s in Haifa. This one, we can't really see the sign too well, but this was in front of a St. Vincent's. Is it St. Vincent's? I'm trying to remember which. I'm trying to read it because it was where they fed the people after the flood. It was in Findlay, Ohio, and I was working at a company that was doing work at the time, doing advertising, and we got caught in the flood, and I ended up at a Red Cross shelter. And after the flood, I stayed. We did a fundraiser for the school kids, and I ran into some of the kids that had been in the shelter, and this was one of the children. This was a bus stop in Sydney. Could have been anywhere in the world, really. Yeah, I titled these, and I don't remember the title, but
I assume that's a homeless person.
it is.
And
It's
that-
a
yeah.
homeless person, yeah. And I was working in a project in a homeless shelter, but there were a lot of people that went back out to the streets. And yeah. This is a rodeo in Montana. He'd just come out of the gate, and it's Augusta, Montana Rodeo. This one was just the beach where I lived. I lived up on one of the cliffs on this side, and went down every day at dawn. And they had a very, very active surf rescue team. There were some sharks in the water, and a few accidents. Not a lot, but it doesn't take a lot to to wreak havoc and to have more surf rescue training. So, and yeah, so they got out early in the morning and did this pretty frequently. This was the birth of my grandbaby, and this was during COVID. And it's funny because the mom wanted the baby to look like the dad. And she doesn't now. She looks like the mom, but I thought it was gorgeous because she came out with a full head of hair, dark hair. But yeah, it was a very magic moment. It was just a home birth during COVID. So that's it.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, that concludes our night. Really, I want to really thank everyone who submitted pictures. Really, it was a lot of fun. I think we have another photojournal. You know, any ones you didn't get in, we have more photojournalism nights coming up. You'll see those on the calendar. And remember, you could enter up to 7 now too. So just send them in. Remember Critique Night? Send your things in too. So again, thank you all very much.